Part 2, Duane. Part 2.
Part 2, baby. So good, you got to do it twice.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to go back, listen to the first part, which was the last podcast. Past healing and transformation, embracing a higher power in your journey.
Higher power.
It's like the Rangers, Power Rangers. That's my higher power. They all come, or like Transformers, they all come together and they make this big thing.
That's awesome. It's you and me, Prime. No, it's just me.
I went to, I guess I have to be getting too old, bro. I went to IMAX Transformers a couple years back, and I couldn't handle how loud it was. And then the whole movie was like, you know, like, and then like buildings just blowing up, and the whole thing. And I was like, in an IMAX theater, it was like, I wasn't like impressed. I was just like, this is loud. Like, this is just too much for my ears.
Not to get off on a tangent here, but I think the modern individual, especially in the last 15, 20 years, has just been bombarded with so much information, so much fast, readily available images, constantly scrolling, constantly screaming, constantly change, that's what movies are like now. That's what commercials are like now.
Right.
I couldn't do like the Super Bowl commercials because it was like glitter and loud noise and overwhelming overstimulus being thrown up at me.
Yeah, we even call it like slow burn, like movies or whatever, you know, like it just slowly happens. I'm watching that Lincoln one on HBO.
Nice.
And it's just a slow, like, murder mystery. Lincoln dies, you know, and so they got to find William Booth.
John Wilkes Booth, yeah.
But it's crazy. I don't want to get into that. The whole idea of it is, for me, when I look at God or I'm looking at higher self, I'm always looking at this thing that's, and we talked about this off air, but I'm always looking at this thing that's external.
Right, this outside thing.
Yeah, and I'm not understanding that it's in me. Like, I mean, even if you're Christian, let's say you're Christian or whatever, there's a Holy Spirit that resides in you.
Yes.
The Bible teaches that there's a Holy Spirit. So, you know, in Christianity, if that Holy Spirit's in you, or God, universe, whatever you want to call it, that is in you, the higher self.
Yes.
Then there's a possibility that if I tap into that, something amazing could happen.
Absolutely. I love the correlation of Holy Spirit and consciousness. Like those two are one and the same. And one of the sayings that we like is a majority of man's problems stem from his inability to sit alone in a room with himself. And that's that like constant vomit of noise and outside stimulus that the world is telling me, that the world is conditioning me I need to have.
Scroll,
yes,
like what
yes.
you're saying. Yeah.
But if I'm in alignment with the shoes of inner being, if I'm in alignment with my consciousness, if I'm in alignment with the God inside of me, all that's just noise. None of that's serving my higher purpose. So what the fuck does it matter?
Isn't it funny how we can literally say that's not real because it's not really real in the scheme of life or whatever. But when it looks at our addiction or something like that, because it's not the scrolling thing, it's slapping us literally in the face and then beating us down to the ground. That we're like, no, that's real. That's not real, but that's real.
Yeah. That's not real too. That's tough. That's a little deeper understanding there. It's deep. That's a deep understanding of existential perspective. It's difficult to get to that place.
Yeah. I don't want to go there.
Deep end theology there, my friend.
But it is about understanding, and our literature talks about this, acknowledging our journey so far.
Yes.
So we've gone through the challenges, we've gone through the triumphs, the lessons learned, we're gaining wisdom. And I like what it says here. It says, each step has prepared us for this moment of surrender. The moment of surrender. What do you feel like in your life, the biggest moment of surrender you've had? Like if you could pinpoint a moment of surrender. Was it the pool? Do you think? What's the most, like for you, what's the most, I think the hospital?
The experience that I had at the pool was more of the spiritual awakening. Like I knew in that moment that I was connected to something way bigger than myself.
You had a spiritual awakening.
I had a spiritual awakening.
While you're cleaning a pool.
Well, I was, yes. I was cleaning a pool. I fell to my knees, started crying. But I would say that's different. That's different than the moment of surrender. Moment of surrender probably started when I was 18. Like I knew I needed to get better. So I started planting that seed. Something needs to change. But it did not come to fruition. I did not experience that moment until the hospital.
So how many years was that from 18 to?
3. I drank for another 3 years. I hadn't had enough ass whooping yet. I still had a little.
But at 18, you're like, oh shit, I have a problem and I can't
knew
handle this.
that I was fucked. I knew that I couldn't stop even when I wanted to.
Right.
But my ego, my moxie said, you'll figure this out.
Yeah, it's
You
not
just
that
do this
bad.
different. Just it's not that bad. I'll just change that. And we talked about that last episode. And that moment of surrender came in the hospital. I called my spiritual advisor. So I'm laying in the hospital bed and I'm black and blue all over. My pants have been cut up to my knees because the EMTs were bandaging my knees because I was bleeding so much. I thought I broke my hip. I had one shoe. I don't know where the other shoe was. And God willing, that's the last time I drank. That's the way I drink all the time. I don't know how you guys drink, but that's the way I drink.
right.
To this day, I don't know what happened, but whatever did happen, I'm grateful. I'm grateful because alcohol administered enough of a beating into me that I became completely willing to do something. I surrendered in that moment because I lost that fight.
No, that's good. That's good.
I fought that fight for years.
That is good.
I fought that fight for a decade, and I lost every time. And on this particular battle, I got as close to dying as I ever want to get.
I'm cutting our heater off, by the way. What I'm doing, I'm not paying it.
You got the nest.
Do you feel how hot it is in here?
Dude, go for it. You're good.
It's shot way up. I don't know why it's shot way up. There we go.
So the surrender that took place there in the hospital carried on, and God willing, I remain hungry and can keep fueling that surrender. I do remember vividly calling my spiritual advisor to come pick me up, and him saying yes.
That he would come pick you up?
Being willing to help me. And he was there for me. He was that outstretched hand of service that was there, that was available for me. It was northern New Mexico on a mountain, and it had just snowed. And I had one fucking shoe on, and I trudged through 6 inches of fresh snow, and I got in his Jeep, and his Jeep said 6:30. And I asked him, his name is Bobby. I said, Bobby, is it 6:30 in the morning or is it 6:30 at night? Because it's still dark. That's the way I drink. I don't know how you guys drink, but that's the way I drink. I had lost a few days there. And he said, 6:30 in the morning, Duane. It's 6:30 in the morning. And he took me to his house on the mountain, and he put me in a bed to detox, and he gave me a gallon of apple juice. And he said, I want you to drink this apple juice so that you keep your blood sugar up, your blood sugar doesn't crash. You can die from withdrawals of alcoholism, and you can die from withdrawals of opiates. Other withdrawals you can't die from, but those two you can die from. So it's important to have monitoring during that stage of a detox. We are not medical professionals. We don't subscribe any medical advice.
Yeah, we're not subscribing
however,
apple juice. Yeah.
However, it's important to get appropriate help during a detox, and that's the way mine went. And I remember trying to get the apple juice to my lips, and I couldn't because I was shaking so violently. I couldn't get the gallon to my lips to drink it. And I remember telling Bobby, if I ever do that again, do not come and get me. Just let me die. And I know that was my moment of surrender.
That was
when I told him there on his steps in front of his house on the mountain, don't come get me if I do that again. Just let me die. I knew that I had given up.
Did it, I mean, obviously it brought a spiritual awakening to you, but it didn't feel very good in the moment. You're at your worst. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people think that there's going to be like this.
This is why people don't get sober, bro.
There's
People
going
don't
to be
get
like
sober.
a big party and everything's going to be great.
Fuck
and,
no. People don't get sober because it's so painful to change. All this takes is everything you got. Are you ready to be born into something new? Great. That means your old self needs to die. Let that fucker die. It was like a grieving process. Like I had to mourn the old Duane, the alcoholic Duane.
You know, like a lot of churches have baptism.
Born again.
And it's like as an adult they'll have baptism,
Sure.
or whatever, and it's that laying down, that dying,
Yes.
and then resurrecting again.
Perfect.
You know, and
Just
I
like
think
Jesus.
that's just like Jesus. That's that. And we were talking about that a while ago. Everybody wants to focus on the cross, but they don't realize the power is in the resurrection.
Yeah, you nailed it with that. Yeah.
Everybody has crosses, which is great. I mean, I'm all for it, but we all have cross jewelry, and we're always this fixation on the suffering.
Yes, suffering. Yes, that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the suffering that has the power. The power comes from the resurrection.
It's the rebirth.
And it's so beautiful because Mary that came to the tomb, not Mary, Martha was at the tomb when Jesus came out. She didn't even recognize him. That's how much resurrection power was. She asked who he was. He had to be like, hey, no, look.
Yeah.
They didn't even know. She didn't recognize Jesus after his resurrection power. And that's the same thing with us. We have so much power within us that we're unrecognizable. Look at you now after 14 years. You're unrecognizable.
Absolutely. I'm a completely
the people
different
that would know you, would be unrecognized by you.
100%. And most of those people are dead.
Yeah.
That I hung out with. They're not around now.
But think about how much power to transform you from the hospital to now.
Infinite power, bro. I'm a different person. God made that possible, not me. And that's the humility. That's the acknowledgement. This journey so far, like it's so important to acknowledge the victories too. Like I'm not just all bad human being.
Well, I mean, you had a surrender at 18, and then you had to drink 3 more years.
Yeah.
And then you
and I had a deeper surrender.
Yeah.
At 20, I do everything backwards.
But didn't you relapse for 9 months or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no. I relapsed at 5 months, 20 days. The relapse only took 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks to get into the hospital.
Yeah.
Drinking the way I drink. Yeah, but I'm grateful for that too because that was the
pivotal moment.
That was the moment I needed. That was the pain and suffering I needed to become willing to change. I'm sorry, like that's just it is what it is. I'm not going to change when everything's peachy keen.
Yeah, well, I think that leads us to the second point here in understanding this is embracing vulnerability. This is the next step on the path. So if you look at little stones of path, like as we're moving along, 1, we've acknowledged our journey so far. Number 2, we're embracing vulnerability. This means acknowledging our limitations, our pains, and our struggles without judgment. So when you're looking at yourself, your knees are all bloodied, you have one shoe, your pants have been cut by EMTs, you acknowledge your limitation there. It's like, oh, shit.
Exactly.
There's nothing here.
Oh, shit.
There's nothing here.
That was a come to Jesus moment for sure. I needed something more than me. In order to survive.
The pain and the struggle was too real. It was too much.
In my innermost self, I knew my way was going to get me killed. I needed a different way.
So when did you begin? That was the process that you began to open yourself up. The clamshell began to slowly open up to allow that greater power than yourself to allow that in. You know, or the door began to creak open, the light, God's light began to shine in. When you look at like time frames, because in the Western world, we always want times and hacks and, gimmicks and all this stuff. For you, it's still a process. The door's still open.
Yes.
But as far as when you began to see the light really shining in, when did you begin to acknowledge that this higher power is doing this for me?
It was not immediately. The moment that I experienced at the pool, the spiritual experience and this removal of the desire to drink was taken away from me.
So from being in the mountains, sitting on the porch with your spiritual advisor to the pool is how long?
6 months.
So there's a whole lot of work happening in this 6 months. A lot of shit showing.
Every single fucking day is work.
Yeah.
Every day, all day is work. If I dedicated every moment of waking hours to getting drunk, how much time do you think I need to dedicate to being sober, to my recovery?
But this was the 6 months before you kind of was like, oh shit, I'm not.
It was 6 months before.
The obsession is starting to relieve.
For me, it was gone at 6 months, and I'm so grateful for that. And it was 6 months that I started to experience that light, that God's light shining into my life. That, oh, wow, this is working. I can have this too. Holy shit.
So from
My
the
life can
surrender,
change.
6 months.
For me, yes.
For you, yeah.
But by no means is that the rule of thumb. Some people it's longer,
exactly,
some people it's shorter.
Right.
Some people it's the same day.
Yeah, we've read books on that.
Yes, and that would be like a Moses experience. That would be a white light burning
or
bush
Eckhart
experience.
Tolle, he
Totally,
was like totally spiritually awakened.
Boom, on the park bench.
So I want to get into number 3 here, which is the third stepping stone. And this is one of the most profound aspects of the journey, is learning to let go of our need for control.
Good luck.
This is one I'm still
Me
having
too.
issues with.
Me too.
Now, I want people to understand this doesn't mean giving up on our goals or ceasing to take action towards our dreams. Rather, it's an understanding there are forces at work beyond our immediate grasp. And it's okay to trust in the flow of life. I want you, whether you believe in this or not, it doesn't matter. I love the analogy of angels. We have St. Michael there. And I love the analogy of the spiritual warfare that's happening that we don't see around us. You know, and in the Bible, it talks about this. And whether I was talking to a mystic Catholic the other day in our spiritual podcast, and it was so interesting. He was talking about this. He's like, you know, he was getting into like all the different angels and what's going on and the warfare that they're fighting, you know, because obviously you have evil and good and all those different things and demonic presence and all these things. And it's so cool to think that there's these, and he said something that was really cool. He goes like, well, my belief in this is that we're angels in training, that us at a 5th density or 5th is that eventually we'll spiritually evolve so much that we'll be an angel and we'll be fighting. And I was thinking about that, like angels in training, you know, whether it takes millions of years, probably for me to even come close to being an angel. But it was like so cool to think of, like, I'm struggling, but there's a lot of power around me that I don't even know about. There's shit happening around me because I can only see 1% of the world, like biologically. Science has proven we can only see 1%. And we know there's multi-dimensions and the earth keeps the universe keeps expanding. So it's like, and they've come up with the other day, the guys that won the Nobel Peace Prize came up with these things that there's consciousness now and all this stuff. So it's like, fuck. Like, it's not just me being narcissistic in this nihilistic world. It's shit happening all around me of power that I have no fucking idea what's going on. So who do I think in this spinning ball that I have any type of control?
I love
And
it.
what do I have control of?
Yeah. This delusional
A thread? I got like a little thread with a noose on it. I'm like an ant.
It's extremely powerful. And the hope is that every individual can have the knowing inside. It's not about me. It's not up to me. It's not up to me. King Duane is going to control the universe now. Did you know that the fabric of existence will just fall apart once I die? Did you know that my son never gets to grow up and experience life if I die today? It's all up to me. And it's all bullshit.
Right.
It's delusional and it's fear-based, and that's that contracted perspective of the ego. That's small. That's a small perspective. So if I can open up my consciousness, if I can open up my experience, if I can open up my mind, if I can open up my heart, we start to experience a little bit of this humility. Now, this is a dangerous word. Not to be confused with humiliation. One of my favorite definitions of humility is just being right-sized. I'm not King Duane. It's not all up to me. But you don't get to piss on me either. I'm not a doormat that people get to abuse. I'm just a part of. I'm just a member of. I'm just one of God's kids. I'm a part of the sonship. I'm just a part of. And that's a better strategy.
Yes.
In regards to navigating the world and having some success in my life, having some inner peace in my life, having some abundance that I can be proud of in my life. Being right-sized is a way better strategy.
Oh, 100%.
Than I'm the best thing ever and fuck everybody else. Or I'm the worst thing ever. I don't deserve anything. Those are losing strategies. They're strategies, but they're definitely not the best strategy available to us. And what we're discussing now in regards to this letting go of my desire, my delusional desire for control, is starting to get right-sized. Okay, so if I'm not controlling everything, what do I need to do? Do I need to practice some acceptance? Do I need to practice some tolerance? Do I need to practice some forgiveness? Oh my God, I couldn't possibly. Okay, God, help me forgive these no good motherfuckers for not being the way I think they should be.
Yes.
That's as good as I can do sometimes. Yeah. I think they should be different. I'm the one with the judgment. I'm the one with the control issue. They're not different. They're going to do what they're going to do. If I wait for them to change, I might wait forever. I could change this moment. And I can start to experience that humility, that freedom this moment. Humility is the avenue of freedom of the human spirit.
Well, I think it allows you to recognize in these higher powers that there's more abundance, there's more wisdom, there's this eternal wisdom that I can grasp, and that is way more bigger than anything that I can handle.
Let's stop right there. That eternal wisdom that you can grasp, that you can tap into, that's what solves my addiction.
Yes.
It's not me. It's not King Duane, and it's not doormat Duane. That person is not enough. It's the wisdom that you were talking about in regards to the energies that are all around us that we cannot see. That potential energy that I can tap into. That's what solves my addiction.
Do we think about it too? It's like, what if I'm guided by eternal wisdom? I'm guided by God. What type of future do I have? Because he already knows the future. He's not bound by gravity. He's not bound by the laws of the earth or this universe. He steps outside of the universe. So whenever you have something that's eternal and they're not bound by anything, when I step into that wisdom, I become eternal.
Yes.
And then these trickles of thoughts that begins to flow in my brain are, oh, why am I showing love towards this person? Usually I'd be yelling at him. Oh shit, that's eternal wisdom. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got to win there.
That's what attaboy.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's important to do a little pat on the back when that happens. You got to recognize small miracles when they happen.
Yes.
That's an attaboy. Give yourself an attaboy. Give yourself an attagirl. You did good there.
I didn't drink today.
You didn't drink today. That's
I didn't do drugs today.
Yes, that's a fucking win. And then the addiction component of let's enter through the back door. Let's do the reverse of what you said. You said, imagine God's idea of what future do I have in God's infinite intelligence? Let's do the reverse. What future do I have with my addiction?
Yeah, with King Duane or doorstep.
Take it down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I'm not
reverse engineer that. Yeah.
For me, I'm not going to live it much longer.
No. Yeah. Same here.
I'm done. Like my addiction's going to take me out.
Yeah.
So you want to die practicing your addiction, or do you want to live?
I always, even without an addiction, I seem to have this morbid sense of like finding myself in fucked up situations. You know, so I mean, I have an addict's personality. With food, I have an addiction, but it's like, and I want to, let me just read this because I think this is really important. A faith that doesn't need to be defined by any particular belief system, but is rooted, we're talking about this higher power with faith, but it's rooted in the understanding that the universe has a way of guiding us towards our highest good. So that eternal wisdom, do you not think that it's going to have the right compass. Who creates the compass? My compass, which is based off of me knowing north, south, east, west, the laws of earth, or this eternal wisdom that's bigger, that creates worlds, creates universes, is just constantly expanding. How about that compass?
That created the consciousness, which was
Yes.
developed a compass. Yeah, why not honor ultimate wisdom?
So if I could have the greatest addict counselor in the world, it's inside of me.
I walk
ready
around with
to
it. Yes.
ready to heal and help me. Because you just said that. You said that the support from that source, from that eternal wisdom, the support and strength came from that with you in your darkest moment. Came from you tapped into that. And that's what healed you.
Yes.
I mean, 100% you believe that.
Absolutely.
It wasn't you.
Absolutely.
No. It wasn't like you had a realization on the porch with your spiritual advisor. You know what? I need to fucking change. I'm going to grit and bear this and do this. And I'm going to try as hard as I can.
It was the reverse. I knew I couldn't do it anymore. I needed to tap into something bigger. That faith that you discussed too, that you read here. We've said in the past, addicts are entrepreneurials.
Mm-hmm.
We take a risk. And I'm going to take action today because I have faith that it's going to pay off tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's similar to my development with a relationship of a higher power. I might not see the exact result, the controlling result that I want now. But if you asked me to describe my life 14 years from now, when I was sitting there on the steps with Bobby up in Taos, okay, Duane, you're not drinking anymore. Tell me what your life is going to look like 14 years from now. I would have sold myself way fucking short.
Yes.
There's
same
no
here. Yeah.
way I could have ever imagined this is what God had in plan for me.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I would have sold myself way short. My life is so big, so beautiful, so blessed, so filled with responsibility, meaning, and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like, okay, I got enough responsibility, God. That's enough. Thank you. But I have meaning today. In my addiction, I didn't have meaning, and I didn't want to get up out of bed.
Yeah, I love that. I was thinking on this next one, the fifth one is the power of intention. And I want to get into this because exactly what you're talking about right now with this higher power. If you and I were in a beautiful area of Italy in the mountains, and we're at like, what is it, Como or whatever in Italy, it's absolutely beautiful. And we're going to go on a hiking trail. We've seen the maps, we've seen stuff. We've never seen this lake. We've never been there. We've never hiked around the mountains. But we know, according to the map, there's point A to point B. We're going to get there. And then maybe we've seen pictures or something like, but we've never experienced it. But we know we need to hike. We got to go on this journey to get there to do that. And the more that we're on the trail, the right trail, we're going to get there. We're going to experience something amazing and beautiful. Setting an intention to connect with and understand the higher power is the journey. That's the part that people, I think, are missing out, is the intent to connect and understand. I want to understand you, God. I want to connect with you, God. I want to understand you. Help me understand you. All I believe is I got this stupid faith that I kind of think I believe in a God. And I'm on this stupid rock in the middle of the universe.
Yes, exactly.
Connect to me. I want to understand you. Reveal yourself to me.
Powerful.
Pray that.
Yes.
And see what happens.
Oh my God. Yeah, man, that's fucking profound. That is the journey.
Yes, that's the journey.
Connecting with higher power is the journey. It has been psychologically proven that when you put a goal in the distance, what the emotion that you experience when you get the goal is not joy.
No, yeah.
It's like, that's attainment. It's like, I did it. It's a sense of accomplishment. It's like, great, I did it. That's done. New goal, new problem, whatever. Psychologically, it's been proven the emotion that is experienced on the correct path to the goal is joy.
That's so good.
When my life has joy. That's when my life has meaning. That's when my life has purpose, is when I'm on the journey. And what you just laid down for me right now, Jay, I'm picking this up here, is what is the journey? The journey is connecting and understanding with an infinite intelligence that can solve my fucking problem.
Yeah.
Which problem? Any fucking
Do you remember
problem.
the Arrive movie with it's very cerebral sci-fi?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
and they're trying to figure out. They're trying to connect and understand.
Yes, they're trying to communicate to. Yes.
And the addicts are the generals that just want to blow the shit up. Fuck this. We don't need to understand
Blow that
this.
shit.
This is an enemy. That's the ego. The ego's like, no. This is an enemy. This is bullshit. You're just on a rock. I always tell people this. I told you I was talking to an atheist a while back. I was like, I don't give a fuck. It's all fucking false. And it's just some stupid belief in my head. And I use the same word. It's like, it gives me joy. Do you have that? I ask them, I always ask people, I ask people if they're happy.
Are you happy?
I was like, do you have that? How happy really are you? I was like, my spiritual practice, let's say I die and there's nothing. It's just bleak and black. I have tons of joy and happiness from my spiritual belief.
Yes.
I love it. I wouldn't, if I come to the end and know that there's nothing, I would still want to have the spiritual experience.
Because I'm experiencing joy now.
Yes. And it gives me purpose.
Yes.
And happiness. And it transcends. And what greater purpose than for me to transcend my bullshit and start loving?
Profound.
And only that's how it shows God to me, because how can this fucking narcissistic idiot actually even try to love anybody?
Yes. Some of these.
Oh, that's only God,
God makes that possible. Not me, not Jason. God makes that possible. Some of these aha moments are just such gifts, bro. This is just such a gift that you've given us, our listeners, me, myself included. That's so simple. What is your journey? Your journey is to connect.
Yes.
There's no reason that evolution, that expansion has to stop.
But the cool part is, it's like, what's her name in the Arrival movie? She had the purpose and wanting to understand and connect.
The redhead, yeah.
And she wanted to connect through a loving way and be like, hey, you're just a different species. It's fine. And then they began to communicate.
She figured it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it took that willpower and that intention. That's the power of intention.
Yes,
it took the intention. Your ego, God is like that alien trying to talk and learn a weird language. Wasn't it like ink blobs or something and they were moving
triangles?
Around? Yeah, all kinds of weird shit. That's what your ego thinks towards God, because it wants separation.
Yes.
It doesn't want you to connect. It's monkey mind, evolution, the laws of the earth.
By myself.
Yeah,
by
human.
myself.
You're a human. Yeah.
Protect, defend.
But when we open ourselves to the guidance and insights that can lead us to greater healing, that's where, and this is what I was saying, not just the understanding, and our literature says this, it's not just the understanding, but it's the fulfillment. Yes. How fulfilled is your life now, 14 years later?
My life has meaning at last. My life
You're
has
more
meaning,
fulfilled.
I'm more fulfilled now. And it's a very paradoxical thing. I would have never known that.
Did
sober.
your addiction provided you no fulfillment?
My addiction provided me chaos.
Yes.
And cortisol and stress and fear and worry. And for a long time, I was addicted to those emotions. I had zero fulfillment. I don't know what the fuck that even means. I got the bag. What
Feeling full.
Did we fulfill
fulfillment was the fifths of liquor, right?
And they were empty quick.
Yeah. You were telling me how you were hiding one and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. It's the best day of my life when I found a hidden bottle. But I had zero fulfillment, and now my life is huge. My life is huge. I can't guarantee you that your life is going to get really, really good when you clean up your addiction. And I can't guarantee you that your life is going to get really, really bad when you clean up your addiction. But I can almost guarantee your life is going to get really, really big.
Well, especially like we encourage 100% of people to get tapped into a program with other people.
Yes.
And if you begin to help and serve other people through your addiction, that brings healing.
Yeah.
Because that's bringing God
Absolutely.
in. Because that's bringing love in. And that's bringing service to others in. We've talked about this. That's going to give you fulfillment just off of service. Service always gives fulfillment.
Yeah. And it gives me purpose.
Yeah, and it gives you purpose. So,
absolutely.
So you're in there, and that's why we encourage 100% of people to go to meetings. I love this next part. and it's getting up on we probably got like 5 minutes left, but it says it's an invitation for the universe to work through us, in us, and with us. What does that look like? The universe working through us, in us, and with us.
Through us, in us, with us.
Yes.
It might be something like that. It might be like, okay, I want help in my horizontal realm of existence, the world of form. And I want help in my vertical existence, the world of no form, love, consciousness,
peace,
inner being, peace, serenity.
Joy,
Yes. Those are all things that I can't hold in my hands. But I start to get to experience those things when I know that's my identity. That's where I want to come from first. I want to have the perspective of vertical dimension first. And then I get to honor the world of form. My world of form starts to look a lot nicer. People aren't like chasing me down with guns now. In my world of form. My world of form is worth living today.
I love that.
I can honor the role of being father. That's not my identity, but I get to honor that role.
Do you feel like whenever you see the universe work in your life, whether it's having a new child and having selfless love towards that child, whether it's being in a relationship, with your wife, and you can kind of see the universe begin to work because it's like, oh shit, the old Duane would have done this, this, and this. And just not doing old Duane things is a miracle.
Absolutely.
And then that's a synchronicity to show you that God is at work.
Yeah.
And that you've matured and that you've connected and that you are having understanding. You're understanding God more. I mean, this is all we talk about. Like literally, this is all, when we get together, we talk spiritual.
You and me.
It's very rare
absolutely.
where we may talk about watches for 2 seconds or something like that.
Yes.
Or, I mean, we don't even talk about cars. We'll talk about travel or art or something like that. But 98% of our conversation is spiritual.
I would say those are spiritual discussions too, because I don't get to experience those gifts without these spiritual
And
practices.
isn't it amazing? You go on a trip to Rome and the whole experience is spiritual.
Absolutely. It was spiritual the entire time.
Even eating that food's spiritual, isn't it?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like soul.
You go, oh my God, oh my God.
Why do we say that?
Yeah, because we're tapping in infinite abundance. Our role as recovered individuals is to increase my understanding and effectiveness.
Yes.
I can do that with God. With God, I can have an understanding of myself and my selfish behaviors. If I can have an understanding of myself and my selfish behaviors, I start to get an understanding of you and your selfish behaviors. And then maybe with God, with humility, I can have some compassion.
Forgiveness.
For the forgiveness.
You get to practice.
For the people in my
Your
life.
spirituality.
I'm no longer crucifying everyone around me because they need to be better. I start to accept the world the way it is. I'm no longer swimming upstream. And then how effective am I in my life
Yes.
if I'm not swimming upstream? I can build a whole new fucking world.
Yes.
I have done that multiple times because of this understanding and effectiveness. I don't have to try and control you. I can deal with what I can deal with.
That's the beautiful part is the change can happen now.
Yes. In the moment.
In the moment, like you could literally walk to your house, not your house, but like an addict's house. You could literally walk into your home or that place that you're living, or if you're living on the streets or whatever, and begin to have this communication with God right now.
Yeah.
You can literally start praying right now and having faith and belief and understanding in this higher power and just praying 1,000 times a day for wisdom and understanding and help. And guess what? It's there for you.
Yeah.
It's not a lie.
Take action and do not deprive yourself of the miracle of healing that's available to you.